Uh, Today we'll be covering the author Tony Cohan. And Tony Cohan is sort of a multifaceted individual or an artist, I would call. He has carved his own niche and talking about a lot of his life in Mexico with travel narratives. And he was born in New York City. And this hometown also gave him that earlier expression which he brings into his novels or travelogues, I would say. So before embarking on his writing career, he was doing music and a lot of rock music and jazz genres. And in 1960s, he immersed himself in the music scene. And he was a drummer and lyricist for several bands. So this period of musical exploration, it kind of seeped into sort of providing that rhythmic quality into all his writings, and it's very evident in everything that he writes. So his creative inspiration was there as part of the music career that he was building up, but there was an inherent passion to do some writing, and right now he's known as an author, as a book editor, screenwriter, copywriter. That's why I said multifaceted personality, right? And he's been a musician, lyricist, and most of all, he is most famous for his travel writing. Any traveler, they would love to read his works, and he focuses a lot on Mexico. That's his love essentially for this place, and especially San Miguel Allende. Masako, his wife, and him took a short trip early on, and then the San Miguel Allende was so alluring that they were drawn to this place and they called it home. So it's a city filled with historic charm, and there is a huge artistic community that thrives there. And for any visitor also, it can be a very transformative experience. Similarly, like Masako and Cohan found not only a new home, but also a lot of inspiration for his most celebrated works. So on Mexican time, I will step back a little bit. So I got hold of Tony Cohan's writing when I was staying in Guanajuato in the Airbnb. They had this novel or travelogue called Mexican Days. And it's a later one that I'll be covering. I'll be starting on Mexican time because it more or less flows along with the timeline. But I started with Mexican Days, reading this during my siesta time, eat lunch, and then come back to the Airbnb, rest for a little bit, and then continue the reading before we headed out again in the evening for a walk or dinner. So I started reading with Mexican Days, and I'll talk about it soon. So that's how I got introduced to Tony Cohan after I was there in Guanajuato and staying at the Airbnb because they had this novel sitting on the shelf there. It works. So on Mexican time, I will step back a little bit. So on Mexican time, essentially, this is a novel that is well known for Cohan's vivid portrayal of life in Mexico. So he journeys into the heart of Mexico, covering some of the locales around San Miguel, and essentially mainly focused on San Miguel itself. It's sort of capturing how the life of an expat is. So if anybody is interested in being an expatriate, and especially looking to establish a second home or a new home in San Miguel or in Mexico, this is a must read. So this came about like essentially when his wife Masako and him went to San Miguel, and so they were so drawn by the beauty of this colonial town that they decided that they will make this their new home, and they started this profound love affair with the country and its people and their culture. So on Mexican Time is sort of capturing this journey, or Cohan is capturing this journey of discovery and adaptation. So they bought a century-old home in San Miguel, and he talks about how they navigated the challenges and the joys of immersing themselves into this new Mexican culture. It's a very friendly culture for anyone who goes there to central Mexico. People are so friendly, and the city itself is so beautiful, filled with colonial history. And Cohan captures this with a very keen eye for detail and with his lyrical writing style. He paints a very vivid picture of Mexico, and especially of San Miguel, and talks about the local traditions, festivals, and also the everyday interactions that people have there, like sitting around in a restaurant or just walking down the road. He captures this beautifully, and it offers a window for anybody who is interested in becoming an expat and moving down to Mexico, and especially San Miguel or Guanajuato for that matter. Mexican Days is the one I first started reading, as I mentioned, in Guanajuato, and my first introduction to Tony Cohan. After I read the first 2 chapters, I said, wow, how come I have never come across him over all my reading these years? So it was a very good introduction and to Tony Cohan, and then I continued and read his On Mexican Time after I finished Mexican Days during my stay in Guanajuato. So it's a travelogue, and it's a memoir by Cohan, and it's a follow-on to the Mexican Time. That's why On Mexican Time came earlier or released earlier than this particular Mexican Days, where Cohan now travels deeper into the heart of Mexico. He goes beyond San Miguel now to other parts of Mexico, and this is diving into the heart and soul of another culture, right? And Mexico is amazing, and the culture is even more beautiful. So he captures this in this travelogue, Mexican Days, and for this, he's known as an acclaimed travel writer. So it's capturing the essence of Mexico, the stunning landscape, and venturing into the Pacific coast, to the Yucatan Peninsula, and also the bustling streets of Mexico City, covering the beauty of Oaxaca. I did visit Sierra Gorda region and Ilitla and the Jalpan de Serra missions of Junipero Serra before he started establishing these missions here in the west coast of US. And this is Cohan traveling there, all the while sharing his experiences and reflections along the way. While I had read this novel before I ventured out from Guanajuato to all these other places, Sierra Gorda, which is a very mountainous drive, I was constantly remembering Cohan's writing there. And it's a rich celebration of Mexico's culture, the history, and the sort of everyday movements also captured of the people that he captures there. So it is both universal, I would say, and personal as he delves into his own journey of discovery, and also talks about Mexico's complex past and present. Like anybody who has a colonial history will have a complex past, and how they have preserved it in the present is also a wonderful thing to kind of cherish, I would say. So he encounters various artists, expats, and locals, and there is a lot of stories that reveal the depth of Mexico. So he builds together these stories with the tapestry that he weaves there, along with the mosaic of stories that offer the real depth of Mexico and into its culture and the challenges it's facing in a changing world. So it sort of, for me, it personally was a meditation on the art of travel itself, and how you can do a lot of immersive travel into another country, and that can change your model of thinking, and it can help you understand the world better and ourselves better as well. So that's what I got out of Mexican Days, and you'll also get introduced to a lot of Mexico's wonders while Cohen writes about it. So the other novels by Tony Cohan is Canary, Native State, and Opium. These are on my list. I haven't read them, but I will get to them like sometime in the future, and I will do a video about it as well. So